Okay, so this is season 2, episode 17 already this year.
Look at you,
Uh,
go girl.
yes,
Woohoo.
and I've got to say, you are a smooth storyteller.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I was just listening to a bunch of your stuff before I was getting ready, and of course, there's a bunch of other things going on. But that last one that you released is very positive and upbeat.
Yeah, into the
Uh,
grains.
yeah, like, and then the one about the sunshine, that
Oh, come on,
one,
sunshine.
oh, I've got to tell you, all and then every song that I've listened to yours so far has an amazing story.
Well, thanks.
So, when did your journey begin?
Well, I started playing. I mean, my first experience doing music was in church when I was a little kid. I mean, like a lot of people, singing in the little church children's choir and doing that kind of thing in the Christmas and Easter cantatas. Then I ended up playing saxophone in junior high and high school. So, and then I didn't start playing guitar until I guess my sophomore year in high school, maybe. My cousin lived right up the street, and he was in a band. And true story, they needed to borrow a guitar strap for their practice. And I bartered and I said, well, you can borrow my guitar strap, but let me come up and sing a couple songs with you at practice. So that's kind of how I started. It's how I got in a band. But songwriting, I didn't really start until later in life. I went to St. Louis University undergrad and wanted to get a master's degree in real estate. And I moved out to Denver and was living alone. This would have been like 1989, 90. And was living alone out there and had a lot of time on my hands and had my guitar with me, obviously, and kind of just started writing songs. I'd listened, my folks had listened to country growing up while I was growing up. But I mean, my band, I was in high school, we played everything from Merle Haggard to, Mellencamp and Brian Adams. I was an 80s rocker for sure.
That's cool.
So, well, yeah, I mean, I saw every concert that came through St. Louis because I grew up in Cahokia, Illinois. I could see the arch from my house, but I didn't miss many concerts, mostly rock back in those days. But obviously 89, 90, you kind of know if you follow country at all, what was going on. That was, here comes Garth and here comes Alan Jackson and here comes Travis Tritt and, Clint Black
So,
and all these incredible
oh,
artists.
I know, and Brooks and Dunn, and then you
Oh
have,
yeah,
and then there's Reba, Jody Messina, like Martina McBride. And the list is like endless.
it just blew up, And
It
so I
did.
was out there, and then I got back to St. Louis in '90, and started working, and my day career is as an appraiser, which is flexible. So I was able to get back in a band, but I got in a country band then because country was just, and to be honest, a lot of the country starting around then sounded a lot like the 80s rock because the rock thing had kind of shifted to the, Seattle, the grunge kind of scene. And so the country of those days, like Brooks and Dunn and these people I just mentioned, it
Yes.
sounded a lot like the 80s rock that I grew up on and loved. And I mean, if the Eagles came out, later, they would have been a country band probably.
Probably, because then if you look at artists like Big and Rich and Gretchen Wilson, which I happened to be able to catch them in concert.
Right.
Brooks and Dunn I've actually seen 3 times, which was amazing every time.
They rock.
But yeah, and then the difference where they could go from like an old traditional country song to something that's really upbeat, pounds through your chest, and just absolutely blows you away.
Well, Gretchen's from the area I'm from. I'm from Southern Illinois. She's from Pocahontas. But we played a lot of the same clubs. I mean, her husband at the time, Larry, told me because we would play a lot of the same clubs. He told me, yeah, we think we're going to take Gretchen to Nashville. And I'm like, okay, I hope that works out. Well, it did.
Yes.
So they took her to Nashville, but that girl can sing anything. She's an incredible artist. I mean, back then, and she still does Barracuda by heart. And I mean, she was just nailing it. And,
It's a beautiful rendition.
Those guys would play. They would play because Larry's family owned a club in Glen Carbon, Illinois, called Granny's Rocker. And when country got really popular, they would play as Beowulf, that was their rock band. But then on the weekends, they would go out and do shows as the long-haired country boys. Before Gretchen obviously came to Nashville or took off, but just that's how popular country was back then. And there were a number of clubs to play, and those guys were awesome. And she could sing the phone book and make you listen. But,
yeah, she really could.
And I'm glad to see her kind of having a little comeback. She's starting to play some shows after a little bit of an absence.
Yeah, I seen where she got into production and things for a minute.
Yeah, she's actually produced. She got I don't know if she still has a home studio out at her home, but some guys from the St. Louis area that the Well Hungarians, one of the guys I was in a band with back in high school, they've recorded at her house. Supposedly a very nice studio. But she's an incredible artist.
Yeah, she is for sure. So it's fair to say that you had like a multitude of different artists as musical influences.
I did because, like I say, my folks listened to country growing up. My grandmother, on my mom's side, was not in good health, and so we went every weekend from up near St. Louis to extreme southern Illinois. It was about a 2.5 hour drive, and my mom would pick us up after school on Friday, and my dad would be along when he could. He worked shift work, but they listened to country, so I was familiar with all those country artists back in the the early 70s, late 70s. As I was growing up, I was born in the late 60s. So artists like John Denver and Charlie Rich and Merle Haggard and George Jones, and all these guys were on the radio then. So I was familiar with all that stuff. And then as I grew up, I was never rebellious, but I don't know, the 80s rock thing kind of hit me, and I probably owe that to my cousin Dave, who lived up the street, who had these albums. And I can remember like High Infidelity, and my other cousins Randy and Carla, they had these albums by Styx. I can remember The Grand Illusion and all those albums. Toys in the Attic, Aerosmith. So I kind of got turned on to that, but yeah, I just love good music, and the country genre, it's more storytelling, for the most part. Maybe not so much anymore, but it's still it's a good story song, and topical about certain things that touch people. And so that's kind of how I gravitated to kind of where I am now.
Wow. I just got to say, for anybody that is listening, you need to check out this music, because I can tell you it will have you thinking, can almost have you cry and lift you up. Because in that, and I say that, and because not all the tears are going to be sad, they're going to be happy tears that people are going to cry when they listen to you, because just the stories, the way they come through, it's like you've had a hand and a touch in every story that you tell, that in some way, some kind of situation has touched your life, and it shows through in your vocals, actually.
Well, you know what? I hope when I'm no longer on this earth that, my music catalog, people will listen to that and kind of build a character reference, if you will, and they'll kind of hopefully know who I am and who I was as a person, So for some reason, they're not all story songs, but I kind of have a tendency to write like about subject matters, like I'm adopted, so I have an adoption song. And I wrote a firefighter tribute song. I have a disabled veterans tribute song, and we wrote a song called Boston Stronger after the Boston Marathon bombings. So those kind of things, I've actually been playing in a duo for about the last 15 years. We just kind of took the summer off, and I released a couple things on my own. It's like, that's called Bats and Haynes, with a good friend of mine named Eric Haynes. And there's music out there as Bats and Haynes as well. And we've actually got a project in the can, to use an industry
Nice.
phrase. We've got some stuff recorded that I'm really proud of. But he wanted to do some traveling this summer, so we're taking a little time off, and I'm throwing a couple things out there and keeping after it, and hopefully going to book some shows maybe this fall.
That would be definitely really cool. Is there a favorite type of venue that you have played at that you would like to continue playing at, or do you like all venues?
Well, I like all kinds of venues, but I'm a like in your face kind of person. I like the closeness better than like being 20 or 30 feet away because I feed off that energy when I'm doing gigs, if you will.
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of like gigs this summer aside from songwriters nights. I mean, playing the Bluebird, you got people sitting like over your shoulder pretty much, and that kind of thing I like. It's like but doing a songwriters night versus doing a cover show or whatever is like totally different kind of vibe. But I like both. I love the listening room atmosphere where people you can play a ballad and people are in tune with every word. Whereas if you play a show at a brewery or a winery or just a concert venue, a lot of times those people are there to party and have a good time, and sometimes they're not really. Background noise is kind of that's not so true, but yeah, sometimes you're a little bit like background noise.
So, do you still play the saxophone?
I have a saxophone. I haven't played it in a few years. I keep threatening to get it out again.
You should.
I could. I mean, I don't know if it's quite like riding a bike, but it's probably somewhat like riding a bike. I think I can still pick it up and make it talk. But
that would be interesting to throw into something.
High school, I used it, quite a bit. We did like, the Born to Run, and we did like the John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band was pretty popular back then. That some Bob Seger, I would get to use it on that kind of stuff. And it actually kind of sets you apart a little bit by having that. But you move to Nashville, and it's like there's real the musicianship bar is like raised like immensely. It's like you move here, and the songwriting bar and the singing bar. It's like just one of those towns where it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm a guitar owner and not a player, but I as a rhythm player, and I use the guitar as a tool to write. I don't really consider myself. I'm not a lead guitar player, but it's helpful. And I would encourage anybody out there that's like writing music or wants to get into writing music to learn an instrument, whether it's probably piano or guitar. I would learn one of those two because, for one, it will help your songwriting. But two, when you get to town and can play an instrument, it will increase your level of respect. It's just you're looked at differently if you play an instrument as opposed to just come here with a bunch of lyrics and our poems that you want to turn into music.
Wow, you are just seriously the storytelling. It doesn't stop because even just talking to you, it's still. I just love hearing about your perspective on all this. This is amazing.
Well, thanks.
Is there?
I've been doing it a long time, and I moved here in '97, so I've been here a long time. And as you know, the music business has changed, incredibly. It's a lot tougher for a songwriter to make a living songwriting, because whereas it used to be, there were mechanical royalties and performance royalties. Now it's pretty much performance, and the streaming's cool and all, but the streaming companies, which is pretty much big tech, they just don't pay songwriters much. It's like a fraction of a penny for each. I've got friends that have had #1 songs that have made at 26 million streams and made $700. I mean, that doesn't really pay the rent.
No,
you really, really have to get into this because you love it and you've got something that you want to share or say.
Yes, and patience and failure is a thing. But as long as you're patient, have the passion and the drive, no matter how many times you fail and fall, you'll get back up and start it again.
That's right. And and you need to have thick skin if you're going to move here, because you may think something's great and I may think it sucks, or it's like not everything. And now I'm not delusional. I know at this stage in my career I'm probably not going to be out there competing with Morgan Wallen to play Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, but I still think people, the good thing about the social world is like it's given people an opportunity to get their music out there to the masses quickly, and more efficiently, money wise. You could go viral, overnight.
but I don't know because there's something gets lost in it when people care too much about the streams and if they went viral or not. For me, it's
Right.
more like the message that's in the music, and sharing is caring. And if you love what somebody does, your favorite artist and things like that, you got to do that too. Also, anybody interested in podcasting, you have to have a very thick skin also, because I checked the stats on people that I compete with. It's over 5 million other shows
Oh
across the
yeah.
world that I compete with. But you ready for the independent music numbers? Over 140 billion independent artists.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But like you said, your industry and it's competitive. I have several
It
friends
is.
that have podcasts, and it's like, how do you set yourself apart? Or what do you?
Well, I just, be you. That's it, it works for me.
Be you, right, right,
Yeah,
and
be you.
do it for the right reason. And
That's right.
if you're blessed or lucky enough to like have a big old hit or whatever, then you beat the odds pretty much. But you do
Hmm.
it because you love it. And like I said, if you're a songwriter because you have something to say or want to share with the masses or with people, hey, you know what? If one person's moved by something I did, it's a success to me.
It is, but also too, people don't give up because there are. I have this saying: not every voice is for every ear. Not every word written on every page is for every eye to read. I feel it's like you gotta find your people. You will find your people. So don't give up. It is a struggle. So now I have to ask the ultimate, which seems to be the most difficult question I ever ask. Which one of your songs or creations are you the most proud of and that you hold the most dear?
Well, I mentioned I'm adopted, so the song that's probably the closest to me is a song called "Found My Way to You," which I co-wrote with a guy that's had a bunch of success over the years with Garth Brooks as a co-writer, Pat Alger, and we wrote a
Nice.
song called "Found My Way to You," and it's an adoption. I wrote it for my adoptive mother, but I have in the last like 3 years or so learned my story and met my birth mother. Actually, I'm actually going to go to their family reunion here in a couple weeks. So that song just is like real, and it just you know it's the one, it's the one. If I play the Bluebird and play that song, there's not a dry eye, and it's amazing. It's amazing the number of people that are adopted, or the number of people that have an adoption like story, or someone you know close to them. I had people come up to me in tears after that song, and just it's just a moving. Apparently, we did good in terms of what we were trying to do. But I gave it to my adoptive mother for one of her birthdays before she passed away.
What was her reaction?
Oh, she was speechless, in tears, just and it's still, when I sing that song, it's still hard to get through, honestly. And when she got to hear me play it a few times down here in Nashville. She would come to visit, and it was almost impossible to sing with her sitting there. But I'm thankful for Catherine too, who's my birth mother. She whether by choice or whatever the reason, the right decision was made, and my life ended up blessed. And I'm thankful to her for that. So it worked out. It worked out. There's a lyric in the song that says, "Sometimes things go better than they should, and the worst of times turn into something good." And that's
Yes, and I found that song emotional in the way that there is still hope for things to turn out good. There's always out there for somebody who, for whatever reason, cannot take care of their child. There are people out there that are more than happy to step up in your place for that. And so it
absolutely,
goes to show that there's still hope that kids can still be raised with parents.
absolutely.
Um, my family I grew up in was a blended family. And through the years of my childhood, my older siblings, for whatever reason, we ended up having their kids in my parents' care, and my parents were caring for them while I was growing up. And then in 1998, there was a bad thing that happened when my one niece that was 5 months old died. Not a good situation. His stepbrother was drunk, late, put the baby in bed, you know.
Um,
And so things spiral from there. My parents helped get custody of those four kids and things like that to bring them up from Florida to New York. And my parents took two of the kids, and then his actual mother took two of the kids. And so a few years later, go on and things, something happens when my sister in law had more kids. And my parents ended up not only taking in their youngest son, Dakota, but they ended up adopting him as well. And he has fetal alcohol syndrome and things like that. And I can assure you, it was not easy, but it was what was right to help the child.
I totally understand. I'm sorry your family had to go through all that. But hey, things things do happen for a reason. Sometimes
Yes.
we don't see the reason. Sometimes, we question and wonder. But for the most part, I think things happen for a reason and work out like they should.
Yes. Yes. So, oh, this is going to be another tough one. Who has been one of the biggest influences in your life overall for music?
For music, gosh, I mean, my mom, I've never, she was the church choir leader and that kind of thing. And my folks were very supportive, not musical. My mom obviously was somewhat musical, but there was the reason I moved to Nashville was a guy named Wayne Brayfield, who he went around and worked with a guy named Johnny Eagle. Kind of, corny sounding name, but I entered this contest in St. Louis. I'd entered a couple singing contests back when I moved back to St. Louis from Denver. And I met him, and I want to say at least somewhat educated, and I'd like to say smart. And, I could kind of tell who was legit or who was kind of connected. And so I met Wayne, and Wayne was working with an artist named Deanna Cox back in those days, who had a record deal on Warner Brothers. And so I knew he was like at least tied to the legitimate industry. Started doing my research, became really good friends with him. Deanna had the same manager that this guy from Flatwoods, Kentucky named Billy Ray Cyrus had. Well, Billy Ray Cyrus, that he kind of hit pretty big. So Deanna had the same manager, Jack McFadden, who's legendary. He managed Keith Whitley, Buck Owens. But Billy Ray hit pretty big, and Wayne was involved in that organization. And so he's the one that kind of suggested or prompted me to move to Nashville. I would come to Nashville and visit and go to some industry events with him. I'm not going to say he never snuck me in a couple, because he might have, or he might not have. But we would sneak into events like the Country Radio Seminar and Standing Room Only, SRO. There used to be a show for talent agents here. And so he kind of, I got a taste of what Nashville was about and like the real industry. And I got to go to a couple Billy Ray shows backstage, like in Chicago, and, kind of see what the whole deal was about. Deanna opened one time for Billy Ray, and Headhunters, Kentucky Headhunters were big back then.
Oh, they're a great band.
Yeah. And you know what? Billy Ray Cyrus is a great artist. He's a great singer and a great dude.
He is.
Gets a bad rap because of that, the one song. But if you listen to the majority of his catalog, he's got some very moving music. I think he just sang the Some Gave All at the guy that got killed, the firefighter that died in the assassination attempt on Trump. And Billy Ray performed that song at his funeral. So he's got some very poignant music, but that's kind of Wayne's responsible for me moving up, getting my butt down here, and I mean, I'll be honest. I was lucky. I had a degree in real estate, and I knew I would be able to make a living, whether if not from music, by doing appraisal work. And fortunately, Nashville's just boomed over the last 30 years, that I've been here. It's crazy. It's a crazy town. It's changed so much, kind of like the music industry. You drive down Music Row today and it's almost unrecognizable to what it was when I moved here.
Oh, and then how country music has changed over the years too, because now you've got artists. Not only do you got Morgan Wallen, but you've got people like Stormy Lee, Ryan Upchurch that are bringing a little bit of that rap flair to country music.
Absolutely.
It's just insane with the talent, and then the idea is just to be like, hey, let me go do this, and then it just blows up like it's like magic. Music, I think, is full of magic for the right reasons and full of healing. Whether you need that spiritual healing, whether you just need to rock out just to get the anger out, whatever it is,
And
music
it's
is.
universal. I mean,
It
it's a
is.
universal language. I mean, somebody can be listening to, doesn't even really know what all the words mean and be smiling and happy, if they don't even speak the language.
Oh yeah.
It is, it's a feel good, or sad or whatever. It's a healing kind of thing.
But it definitely helps.
I think so. I mean, it's therapeutic for sure.
So I have a question. I asked everybody this question. Do you are you a coffee person?
I am a coffee person.
Are you?
I am, yes.
I hot coffee? Okay, because I got my iced coffee right here.
I've never had iced coffee in my life. I'm sad to say.
It is really good. Also, too, if you like strong hot coffee and you want to delve into the cold coffee world, I suggest like a cold brew versus an ice to start with because it is stronger.
I drink dark coffee. I'm not a coffee snob, so I don't, I'm not opposed to drinking a truck stop coffee. Amazon has a brand, Sonoma, I think it's called, and I drink that in the little pods. But yeah, I'd probably drink 4 or 5 cups of hot coffee in the morning.
That's cool because actually it shows.
I'm gonna do what you said though and try a cold brew first.
Try the cold brew first. Also, I recommend Dunkin' over like Starbucks just in that aspect too. I'm not anyways sponsored. I just love the way that the Dunkin' coffee hits in my stomach, kind of like almost like Folgers.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good recommendation. Now, when you have something huge to celebrate, do you prefer like a night out on the town or a backyard barbecue with family and friends?
Oh, probably a nice dinner, a good glass of wine, maybe a steak. Yeah.
Nice.
But, unfortunately, not much of my parents are both gone. I have a brother still that lives up in the St. Louis area, but don't have much family around Nashville per se. So I would probably prefer a night out with my girlfriend, a nice glass of wine and a steak, maybe. Well, if I was going to celebrate something big.
She's considered family too. And then,
absolutely.
Music, friends, and stuff like that. Because I always have this saying: family's not always who you're related to by marriage or DNA. Sometimes it could be just like your people in your little group.
I always say love is thicker than blood.
Yes, who holds 100%. You up and stuff like that. Who helps keep you stay, like on your norms, so you don't go, going crazy and things like that. And things like that. So it doesn't matter if you know what I'm saying. So
I've been really blessed that, she's incredibly supportive. My family was always incredibly supportive. They didn't look at me and go, "What are you doing?" But I'll be honest, I played it a little safe by having a degree and knew I could make a living here. So maybe I was a little bit of a sissy waiting as long to move here. And, sometimes I wonder if I wouldn't have had that like safety net, if I would have worked maybe harder at the music business or pursuing that. But, then I see what's happened to a lot of my songwriting friends over their careers that have even had written hit songs. And, it's tough for them to make a living. And if I look at my level of income anyway and quality of life over the last 30 years, it's probably better than most, So my success in the songwriting world, I mean, I've had a couple cuts and some, critical success with the Tracy Lawrence song, a commercial or two, but, the huge commercial bank account where I'm just like, laying out by the pool and, waiting on the mailbox money, no, I haven't had that kind of success yet, but maybe it's coming, I definitely feel like I've paid my dues, from playing
yeah.
and getting heckled to moving here and learning, you know, what it meant to write a great song, because I've been very blessed to have collaborated with a Grammy winner. The Sunshine song I wrote with a guy that's won a Grammy, and then you know 20 guys plus that have written #1 songs. So I'd like to think I've learned something from each and every one of those guys, you know, about
Yeah.
crafting a song. So and like I say, when I'm gone, and if good Lord takes me today, I feel like my body of work, you know, someone can get a pretty good idea who I was from that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I really could see where they will, because I'm just gonna tell you, I want everybody that listens to my show to go check out Jeff's music, because it is well worth it. Like I always say, sharing is caring, and if people don't know that these musicians exist, can't listen to them. So
I like that. Sharing is caring. That's good, Cheryl.
it is. It really is, because do you know how many people have told me, "Well, I've never heard that artist before until I listened to your show." So I mean,
That's awesome.
it is, because I don't care if people pay attention to me, but at least pay attention to the people that are on my show.
Well, and obviously, the artists that you have are going to share. You're going to increase the awareness about your podcast, hopefully from the interviews you do.
Oh yeah, that, and I'm great maintaining a lot of meeting a lot of new people, a lot of new friends. It's like awesome for sure. It really is. Um, do you have any pets?
I have a cat.
Do
Well,
you?
the cat moved in when the girlfriend moved in from Missouri.
Well, that's cool.
Kiki. I don't know. She's kind of shy, so I don't. She's not around here. But she's a calico, beautiful.
Aw.
Yeah.
A happy, he's going to be 9 in September, but he's my pit lab mix that I adopted from Anderson County Paws 5
Happy.
years ago.
His name?
Yes, his name is Happy. He's gets very embarrassed when I kind of pump him up and tell him that he's handsome and he's the goodest boy and things like that. He don't want to be on camera, because every time I try to take his picture, he's kind of like, I have to sneak his things. But like I say, guys, if you can't afford to go out and buy a brand new puppy or kitty, go to your local shelter, because there's a lot of four-legged furry friends that would love to have a new mommy or daddy to live their best life with.
They need love too.
And if, like I always say, this goes for kids too, that if you guys cannot adopt, try to support in any way that you can. Whether you put it out if you know that there's a need for children that need someplace to go, whatever it is, look for your local agencies and things that can assist you with this if you're interested.
That's awesome. People that love pets, I think that says something, and I really do. I think, and I think on the other side of that, the way pets can sense, they can almost sense bad in people. So
Yes.
if somebody doesn't like dogs or cats, and and the feeling's mutual, that's kind of a red flag for me. It's like,
yeah, because I'm telling you, like I say, some days I'd rather spend the day with just my dog than people, because
very loyal,
they are. Plus, they don't tell your secrets. They always got your back, and they know that you got yours. It's a one
good
of them.
listeners.
Yes, and they have good advice sometimes, because sometimes that yawn, put the head down, take a nap. Sometimes they're telling us we need to sit down and take a time out for a second.
Right.
Yeah. They are really, really awesome. Is there any organizations or anything that you're passionate about supporting?
Well, I was born in a Salvation Army run hospital, so I've got a little soft spot for the Salvation Army. So when I see the bell ringers around holidays, probably them. Any adoption agency, even animal adoption agencies.
That's right.
I'm an advocate for adoption. I know, it's not possible in every case, and I guess it's harder to do these days, more expensive. But I ended up with a great adoptive family and a great life, and I'm very blessed. The the right decision was made or happened, the right thing happened, and it worked out. So
That's
go get a
amazing.
kid, go get a pet.
That's right. And I just love how uplifting you are. You like seem to be like you're generally happy and outgoing all the time. Like,
Well, I mean, life's short. It really is. I've had a good friend get diagnosed with cancer here recently, like my age, and like, no, it's like there's a lot of things to gripe about and be down about. I mean, I could gripe all day about the music business, but you know what? Nobody's making me stay here. Nobody's making me write songs. I do songwriting because it's a passion of mine. And I feel like I've got something to say, and like to touch people and move people. And I'd like to think I'm a positive person, most of the time. And, I just think life's too short to,
yeah, to be negative, miserable, and angry. It really is.
like the most recent song that's still out there, the End of the Grain song. It's like, life's too short for grudges and all that kind of thing. And, I really believe that. It's like that song kind of looks at life through the sand in an hourglass. And it's like, okay, well, this stuff on the bottom, even if it's not all good, I mean, there's still sand in the top. And while there's still sand in the top, hey, that's your life that's left to live. And it's like, go do it.
That's right. Is there one place that you have not yet performed that you really would love to?
I'd like to play on the Grand Ole Opry stage, either as somebody's guest or, as
I could see you there.
Right. So, I mean, it seems like the last few years they're opening up to more and more newer artists, but I realize you have to have some sort of track record or hit song or whatever to perform there. But that would be an honor, incredible honor, just because I know all the people that have graced that stage up to now. That would be one place I'd love to play. Songwriting, Bluebird is kind of like the top of the heap, and I've been fortunate enough to play there a few times. But the Grand Ole Opry would be cool. Probably the coolest concert stage I've played on was the Fox Theater in St. Louis. I got to do a show with Hank Jr. Years ago, and so that was cool. But yeah, so I asked a guy the other day how you get to the Grand Ole Opry, and he said practice, practice, practice. So I guess I'll just keep practicing.
Yes, practice always. It doesn't matter how much of a seasoned veteran you are in anything. Practice, practice, practice.
True.
Because even I do, because I still get weirded out hearing my voice through the headphones.
Right.
So you know what I mean? And then it took a lot for me to actually get in front of the camera, but I still practice. I'll even go in the bathroom and practice talking to myself in the mirror.
I sing in the bathroom, I shower, no, you have to practice. It's like
practice and patience.
I mean, if you're an athlete, if you're a podcast host, all these things. And I mean, I hate to see myself on camera. I hate it, And I mean, as you get older and a little heavier or whatever, it's like, I hate looking at myself and pictures of myself. But that's how you learn, and how to move and act and use your hands. And I mean, you obviously, I can tell you can tell you've done an episode or two, behind the camera there.
Yeah, because I'm sitting still. I'm trying hard not to be fidgety, but practice. It really is everything. Practice, not giving up. Oh, and the most important thing of all is patience, and don't pay attention to all the hoopla, like what I call the politics of music. Don't let it get to you and get you down too much, people, because it doesn't matter how long it's going to take, but you'll eventually come through with something.
Absolutely. And it's just one person's opinion. And I mean, I'm sorry, sad to say, there are mean people out there, and mean people suck. There's somebody that just can't wait to burst your balloon, or can't wait till you post something or share your next podcast, waiting to just like jump on it. It's like some people need to get a life, but there are,
yes,
there are people like that.
But I also feel that when people do that, it's more of a reflection of them than the person who is on the show or the person that created anything.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what is one of your favorite go-to songs when you're just in a good mood that is not yours, of just a random person? Who do you want to push play on?
Gosh, country or rock?
Oh well, get a pick from each genre.
One of my favorite rock songs was by a Canadian trio named Triumph. There's a song called Magic Power, and it's about music, and it's an incredible song. I'm young, I'm wild, and I'm free. Got the magic power of the music in me. You know, that's a, if you haven't heard that song, you
Dang,
should check it
dang,
out.
yo, I just felt like I was in church for a minute with that. Like,
That was a great song. Country
woo!
wise, I mean, gosh.
That was great, though. I just gotta say, that was great.
Well, that song's just is like I like to crank that and like think about music. It talks about the DJ playing a song. You know, it's like if the right song comes on and you're in a bad mood, and the right song comes on, your mood can change in an instant. You know, music has that kind of power.
It
So,
does.
um, gosh, country songs, I love so many. I mean, just songs that take me back to my youth. You know, riding in the back of my mom and dad's LTD down to visit my grandparents. Songs like "Take Me Home, Country Roads." I mean, that's
Oh, singing in a song,
Denver, you know.
singing in a car songs. Oh,
Yeah, that's a singing in the car song.
yeah, them are
You know,
amazing. That's one of my favorite pastimes. Is
I love
actually
playing that song, even though you know a lot of
riding
people.
riding around singing to the radio. I still love doing that to this day.
Right, and that song, it's amazing. That song's universal. It doesn't matter rock. You can play it to a rock crowd, and they'll sing along because they know it. You know, it's
I
funny
feel
that
like
John
it's
Denver back in those days wasn't really considered country, more like a hippie, folky, you know,
right.
artist. But now, you listen to his stuff now, and it's like, well, of course that's country. But that's one. That's got to be one of my favorite, like, just songs to play. That's fun. That everybody, you play that song, and people are going to sing along.
Yeah,
So,
that's really cool.
smile.
Have you ever liked a song, not necessarily what the meaning of the words meant? Because people think I'm a little off kilter sometimes. Because you got the band Falling in Reverse. There's that song called "Voices in My Head," and so it's about how you get out of depression and things like that. However, it makes me feel better because the guy, the way his what do you want to call it, his rhythm with his voice is the diction. Oh, I'm losing my words. But the way he does it, it's kind of like he's on a beat with his vocals. And to me, and mixed with the electric guitar and the drums and stuff, to me, it's like a happy sounding symphony.
Right.
Because for me, it's not necessarily what the words mean. It could just be the way that they're laid out that I like.
Right.
And I'm the total person that can listen to a sad song and still be in a good mood, or make it lift me up into a good mood.
Well, I mean, let's think of supposedly the quintessential country song, "He Stopped Loving Her Today." Yeah, okay, this guy's died and he stopped loving her because now he's deceased. But I look at that as like, gosh, he loves somebody that much. I mean, so there's that positive side that even to a song, that I guess morbid could be considered, but this guy loves somebody that much.
Yes. I mean, and not only that, it's like the perspective that each person and the perception that they get from a song and how it hits them individually is what I really love about music.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you can have the same song and five different people in the same room with that song, and each one of them to feel differently about that song.
right. No, I totally agree. It's that's what I love about co-writing as a songwriter. I can say something, I've had this idea, for years, and we get together and work on something, and I say it, and you hear something totally different, and it takes on this direction,
Yes.
whereas maybe that's not exactly what I thought, or had in mind, but wow, that works. And it opens up your mind to like, wow, how cool. And somebody might say something and I might hear something totally different, or be like, man, you realize what you just said, and
Yes.
it's like not what they were thinking, but that's the one thing I like about collaborating. I mean, I write some on my own and such, but it's fun to sit with somebody, or a couple people. Nowadays, songs, some of them have 4 or 5 writers, but man, the piece of pie gets pretty small if you do that.
Oh, and then there's some songs that I scroll down to the bottom to get like the credits in the bottom, and there's like 10, 12, 15 people sometimes, and I'm like, did everybody get one word?
Right.
Like,
yeah. Right.
I'm like, how does that even begin to work? Because I'm still learning things in that aspect too.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? And then I've sent things off just where, just to get a pre-evaluation and things. They got back. I appreciate the people that were honest, but also too, it led me to figure out that go get testing done to find my hearing loss of my right ear. So
Right.
I'm sitting here in this holding pattern because I've got to wait for doctors, because of course I want to go to the best doctor to figure out why I get the best, treatment options. So then that way I can go on with the other part of my dreams too.
Right.
So I mean, it's pretty cool. And I love the misconception on that people think that if you're a music label, whatever in music, that you automatically have money. People have that misconception to where independent artists do not work another job like a W-2 type thing. Yeah, that's anybody thinking that is you gotta
alluded to the fact that the songwriting career doesn't pay as much because of streaming.
No.
I mean, when I moved here in '97, you could have they still sold CDs, so you could have a song on somebody's CD that wasn't necessarily released to radio, but they were selling, a lot of units. So you made money from those sales. That revenue stream, which was called mechanical royalties, is no longer. It doesn't exist.
Nope.
Now everything's streaming. And from a consumer standpoint, I totally get it. It's like I can pay 10 or 12 bucks a month and listen to like whatever I want when I want. I get it. It makes sense. But unfortunately, the songwriters, it doesn't really trickle down to them.
No, it really doesn't. And then because I still feel that CDs and vinyl are still relevant, because what happens if technology fails and you can't stream?
Right. And I still like to hold something, and I like to read the credits. And
the art, there's a lot inside of a CD jacket and an album jacket and everything that people just seem to have forgot about. Because to me, that's another art form, the information and things, and how somebody took the time to prepare that and put that in, in a little confined thing so that you can have that information as well.
Somebody designed that, laid it out,
Yeah.
Did all this and that. But I know we've talked about my song Into the Grains a little bit. Would you mind if I played it?
Oh, I would love if you did.
Okay.
I really would.
Guess what I have next to me?
Your guitar.
Oh,
nice. Is that your favorite one?
I don't play this one as much. This is a Gibson songwriter. But I like playing it. Does that sound okay?
Oh, yeah.
Wrote this with my friend John Sarabian. All our days are numbered. At least that's what they say. We never know how many steps from the cradle to that grave. So while the sand's still flowing through the glass of time, don't let what's on the bottom be how you're defined. No, try it by give it a shot. Find what makes you smile a lot. Do it now. Today's the day. Don't wait till it's too late. Leave with no regret.
Oh my god, I love that more so live and the way the emotions come through. Oh my lord.
Thanks, Blazy. Thank you.
Wow. Yo, listen, people gotta really seriously go listen to you because hearing you on recording is one thing, and then to hear you like that is just totally like I don't know if you can see it, but the hair on my arms is
Too kind. Thank you. Thank
standing
you.
up there.
Well,
Wow,
you know
yo,
what?
yo.
I just love to sing and write songs and touch people. Honestly, I love people. I love people, all shapes, sizes, political affiliation. Race,
Yeah,
color.
just because
I
people have different views doesn't mean we can't get along because that's
That's
what makes
right.
the
We
world
need to all try to
interesting.
get along. Because I mean, gosh, the
Yes.
world's so divisive right now. It's like I scroll down my feed on stuff, and it's like, gosh, people, grow up.
Right. Right. And then sometimes I'm like, do I really want to comment on this?
Right. Well, that's one thing I
Because
stay out of the whole political arena. I mean,
I,
I obviously have opinions, but you know what? It's like
I know some people
nobody
are
nobody gives a flip. I mean, it's
there.
like
Some people's political views are very, very private. Also, I was told once not to express mine because people would think I was crazy,
right,
and that was by my Navy veteran husband. So it just
right. And
so
I'm honored to be on your podcast today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I feel like it's an honor when y'all come on to share what you do with me in the world, seriously, because I feel very blessed in that aspect.
I think I got your name from Caden Gordon, a friend of mine.
Yeah, Caden
So I want
is
to thank Caden for
phenomenal.
what's that?
Caden is phenomenal. Like, if you
He's a little go
follow,
getter, isn't he? He's a
yes,
go
and if
getter.
you follow his career and know why he does what he does, oh wow, I just can't wait to see
No,
where he's gonna be at even next year, 6 months from now, because
I've been
he
lucky to have, I've got, my co-writer friends, a lady friend named Jenny Foley. She's helped me a lot, especially push this song. Um, Nick over in Italy, just everybody's really jumping on board. I'm going to start working with a manager friend named Chuck Thompson here pretty soon, and just a great guy. I'm excited about that to see if we can, maybe get to that next level. I keep reaching for that next rung on the
hey,
ladder.
keep reaching, keep climbing. I mean, you know, you are. I see somebody who put it that you're the CEO of your own life, so go ahead and control your choices. Or
Hey,
something like that. But that
yes.
was a good. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if it was John that put that. I'm literally trying to remember who put that up because they need the credit for that one because that one
Well,
was
and, like
totally
you
a
said
good
a
one.
couple times, sharing is caring. So, if somebody sees this, hey, share it or tell your friends about the Shadows Lair podcast and or tell them about my music or me, share because that's I mean
Oh,
in today's world that's kind of how things.
I gotta tell you something really cool happened to me. So not many people know yet, but they will now. Artist Browno from the UK, his new drop on his video, I got to actually review it before it was released,
How
and
cool.
my review is in his EPK kit for his new song "Rock and Roll."
That's awesome. See,
It is. That was like the coolest thing, and I'm like, no, Browno is totally. He's actually a really cool guy. Like no jokes. He's really amazing. He's cool. In fact, everybody that's ever been on my show has been amazing. Even people that I talk about that still haven't been on yet, but hopefully they will be soon because people need to know
I'm
about
glad
that.
you had me. I'm glad we were able to coordinate and work it out. It's been a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Yes, and I would like to let Jason Ray Welsh know that you have an army of prayer warriors behind you. You too, Debbie. We're all thinking about you. And like I posted earlier, I will be doing a big mat because that's the other thing I keep to myself is my religious practices. Um, but because you know how some people make religion political,
Right.
I don't like that. It shouldn't be like that at all from the way I sit. But also too, Jesse Xavier, we're praying for you as well. Skip, Dan and Cole's friend, we're praying for you too. But I'm going to be doing a big old thing and including a lot of people because a lot of things in the past few days and like in the past month have not been good for some people, and I just want them to all know that they do have people rooting for them like that spiritually. So if you're not,
and there's power in prayer. So
yes, and if you're not busy at 12:30, could you say a little prayer for these people or me too, please?
Absolutely.
I'd appreciate it because strength in numbers, and it does take a village. Whether it's raising a kid, a new pet, something happens, and you need prayer. It really does take a village, a massive village.
Absolutely, 100%.
So, and wow, I just I'm sorry, but that your song on here, I think, has set the tone for the rest of the day.
Well, try it. Go out and do something that you haven't done, or if there's somebody you need to talk to or say, or some fences that need mending.
Yep, I did that this morning. So shout out to my bro Marinara.
It's an awful thing to live with. So
it really is, and I find it hard at times too because all my parents are gone. My last parent died 6 years ago, so I'm kind of like sometimes I get those moments where I need to phone a parent and I don't have the phone a parent, so it's like I have to be my own parent at that moment. So it's but we all get through. We do because we got to trust that our parents gave us the right knowledge that we need to be able to handle stuff after the fact.
Absolutely. So I want to let people know jeffbatson.com. You can
because I was
find
just
my music out there everywhere you buy digital music on all those platforms.
Yeah, it's also what is your handle? What's your handle on YouTube so people could go support there too as well?
I have a page called Jeff Batson Music.
Okay,
so, and that's my Instagram and TikTok, X or whatever it's called today. Jeff Batson Music on those things
across all the platforms streaming in your device.
And I'm on Facebook. My personal page has I'm maxed out friend wise, but there's a Jeff Batson Music page on there.
Yep,
I think it's Batson Music fans maybe, but if you just search Jeff Batson, you'll find both.
You definitely will, and
follow me on Spotify and all that good stuff. Every little bit helps, and I'll do all I can to promote this podcast, and wish you the best, Blazy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it because I wish you the best in everything you do, and I can't wait to see what you got coming along in the next 6 months, year, whatever. And you're more than welcome to come back anytime you want, talk about your music, anything. Even if you want to co-host, let me know.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll make it happen. All right. So everybody, I don't want to take up too much of Jeff's time today. You've actually been a very blessing to be able to talk to you. And also what you do is a blessing for many people to be able to listen to. So I want to say thank you. And I want to tell everybody to make sure that you like, follow, and share. Mm-hmm. Yeah, share Jeff's music with your friends and your family and your loved ones because sharing is caring. So I got to say peace, love, respect, and I'll see y'all on the flip side.
Sounds good. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Everybody, bye.